one, we await your orders. You need but to ask it of us, and it shall be done.
The most enjoyable thing now might be taking over the world.
Hey there, everybody. Welcome back to another Stone-Faced Reactions. I'm Griffin, that's Theta, and we're here to watch some Overlord. Last time, we had a whole bunch of stuff happen. Or, well, we had things occur, and information dropped on us. Primarily, that Sebas is in the middle of slowly learning every single spell in existence, just one a day, you know, as you do, like vocabulary words. Also that there's a massive criminal organization capable of threatening nation states, and that there are adventuring groups trying to deal with it very slowly by burning villages down.
Specifically one nation.
Yep. And Sibis has also gone ahead and rescued a single beaten girl, and has developed quite an emotional feeling towards helping people in light of his creator and their stance on helping people, and has decided, you know what, I'm going to eliminate crime. I don't know if they actually dedicated themselves to that last time, but I'm pretty sure that's exactly where they're going this time.
They did not. Well, you know, it's been about 24 hours, Griff. You may have forgot this innovative new technique that you've come up with in order for us to...
Is that reading the episode summary?
For exactly the episode that was one before we did, and specifically not the one we're about to watch.
Right. This one is Blue Roses. The previous one,
I can't wait till we get to the show that has several paragraphs of this is what happened last episode. And then she sighed and wrote the book.
Hit us. Season 2 here. There we go, next season. You guys get to watch me research in real time. Here we go. Oh god, this is a whole paragraph. More succinctly last time, while still in the Ray Estate capital, Sevis goes to the Magician's Guild to purchase a spell scroll, and on his way back to the mansion stumbles upon a brutalized young woman who, after remembering the words of his creator player, "Touch me," takes her to safety. The man who threw her away begs Sevis not to, as he will be killed by the Eight Fingers Crime Syndicate for allowing an asset to be taken. Sebas gives the man money to flee as a response. Upon his return, Solution is taken aback by Sebas' care for the young girl, and having Solution heal her of injury. Waking up, she is fed and breaks down crying for being shown the level of kindness Sebas has given, and revealing her name to be Tare. Sebas orders Solution not to inform Lord Ein, stating it is not worth his time knowing about a meager human girl. Meanwhile, Gazev has breakfast with Brian Ungulas, who is in a... Brain, sorry. Blah. I expect it to be a normal name every time.
Yeah, we had a whole conversation about it. The reason I cheaped in.
But Brain is in a depressive state following his encounter with Shaltir, and Gazev tries to help him out. Out in a secluded region, Adamantian adventurer Team Blue Rose destroys an illegal crop used in the production of a powerful narcotic called Black Dust. While scouting, Blue Rose member Evil Eye finds a parchment with code that can lead them to leaders of the Eight Fingers. At the same time, the head of the Eight Fingers discuss the crop burning and the girl's rescue by Sebas. At the table, Zero, head of the Eight Fingers Security, promises Coco Doll, head of the Slave Department, that his men will return the girl to their possession. Oh my gosh, it's such a mouthful. It's literally a transcription of every single thing.
That recap was the Lord of the Rings ending. I kept thinking you were done, and then...
And then we go back to Rivendell, and meet some more people, and then we go back to the Shire, and then we see Samwise waving goodbye to them on the boats, and then we actually arrive at the land to the east and meet some elves, and then also we find out that that's not actually really the end, and that the age continues for some time, and then we go back to Aragorn. It just never ends.
Did you know that they're flying to the moon?
Whomst.
The
Lord of the Rings is flying to the moon?
Yeah, no, the elves. And I guess anyone who got on the boats with them.
Oh, okay.
That's what the, what was it called? The Far Shore? That's what it is. The elves have a trick that only they know, which is, like, sailing at some weird angle to the rest of the world, which is actually transports them towards the moon. So effectively, they're sailing to the moon.
Ah, so this is the Arthur Dent version of sailing, where you throw yourself at the sea and miss.
No. I mean, I always appreciate a Hitchhiker's reference, but no, that's nothing like that.
Right. I
It's
imagine
more
just taking with more poise and seriousness.
Well, no, I mean, it's more like, God, I guess the only thing I can think of is like Cthulhu, where like the oddity of right angles, right? That the entire universe can be subverted by alien geometry. And that's basically what it is that they're sailing at an odd angle. Not like, oh, they sailed a little bit higher. No, it's just like I can't think of it. What it is, like you turn sideways and suddenly you're invisible because you're stepping into the weird geometry of the universe that 3 or 4 dimensional beings can't perceive. I'm saying 3 or 4 dimensions because obviously we're 3-dimensional beings, but I don't know if you include the 4th dimension of time in that when you typically say it.
Man, now I'm kind of craving some Lovecraft style, like Eldritch horror. Which there are Eldritch horrors just sitting around Lord of the Rings, they're just kind of chilling.
Well, I mean, I'm used to that concept more from like sci-fi, say like Eon from the author Greg Bear. They use a lot of folded space in order to form a weightless material that's solid enough that you can work with it. I think, that's also And Eternity, which I think is also Greg Bear. They make spaceships out of folded space so that it's basically nothing. It's a ship made of nothing.
Right, way easier to get something that's made of nothing to go at relativistic speeds.
Well, I mean, it's the concept of the building blocks of the universe, I guess. I can't explain folded space, so I was never into that, but
here today on Overlord, we're not quite folding space, but we will probably be folding a criminal organization.
Well, we don't know how this whole world came into being. It's not like Log Horizon where they go into deep world building to explain it all.
Yeah. As of yet in this point of the story, they haven't really explained how this whole happened. Merely, well, we have our premise of why the protagonist is weird, and we're just rolling.
And you've already kind of disappointed me with the recap. Because I saw the name Blue Roses, is the name of this episode. And I thought, oh, maybe that's one of the underground associations that they all assault and kill. And you're like, no, Blue Roses is the name of the adventuring group. And it's like, oh, cool. More talks around tables with princesses and things. Cool.
Yeah, I can't wait for my politics episode in Overlord, the anime that goes 0 to 100, right?
It's not even politics. It's just like, it's like if you and me sat down right now to discuss the aristocracy of German nobility as it exists today, and with no Googling allowed, right?
I think the great MC Chris perhaps put it best when speaking of Kingdom Hearts, where, to quote, it's a bunch of anime bullshit with their hands on their hips and they go, man, I hope we solve this mystery. And then nothing happens.
Is MC Chris the one that does Aqua Teen Hunger Force?
Yeah, he did at least a couple songs for that.
Yeah. Yeah, but my point being is that these are people obstinately put into a politics discussion situation, but they're talking about it with the knowledge of you and me playing Dungeons and Dragons, right? This is what we should do. You can't be
smarter than the author.
Well, they act with all the foreknowledge of anybody who's just been put into the world and for some reason doesn't actively seem to know the world that they live in.
It does make me ponder in a sort of, I think it's Kantian sense. Or was it someone else? that perhaps a demon, no less powerful than deceptive, merely placed everything there at the last moment with exactly the amount of knowledge needed in order to continue the simulation.
What was that from What We Owe Each Other?
No, it's more philosophy theory craft.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's the book that Kant wrote.
That's the thing. I've never read the primary source. It's all cultural osmosis at this point.
That's my joke, is that I've been watching a ton of The Good Place. So, and that's one of the main things that always keeps coming up. Anytime they want to remind Eleanor of Chidi, it's always remember the one book that she tried to teach you in the very beginning? What We Owe Each Other.
There we go.
So I just had the two associated. Kant wrote What We Owe Each Other.
So I think what would be fun for this episode, and maybe even going forward, like on that thought of people talking about stuff they don't know, we should try to identify who's actually the smartest person in this series.
In the series?
In the series as we're going, like individual characters.
Demiurge is obviously, no argument allowed, the smartest person in the series. He, one, knows everything, and two, acts on that knowledge. He's both scientist and engineer.
Yeah, I'm not sure we've seen quite enough demonstration of that for sure, but he's definitely, like, obviously one of the smartest characters is outright for being there and doing things actively.
Every time that Nazarick has a plan, it's Demiurge's plan. Which is to say, Demiurge anticipates what Ainz means to do, says to Ainz the plan. Ainz, who has no plan, agrees with Demiurge. So literally, every action that the main character, or a group of main characters taking, is literally Demiurge's actions. And then, Demiurge, on his own, is going out and researching things and creating things. I can't remember if we're on it now or not, but he's currently got an encampment where he's trying to make parchment.
Yeah, they did the sheep camp, like, during the Cocutus arc.
Right, so he's out actively progressing things. He's the one making all the plans. If there's ever a question, he's the one who steps in and says the answer.
Yeah. So I think with that as like our highest bar, we're gonna start judging the hell out of everyone else, not knowing a single thing about the world right now.
I thought you were gonna pitch, let's see who's the smartest of the Blue Roses.
Oh yeah, that too. We should go also investigate each group and go, like, does this person know what they're doing? Is there anyone within this organization who knows anything going on?
Well, here's my problem.
I think that's fun.
Here's my problem with that, Griff, is that I've been burdened with great megalomania. So, Evil Eye is the smartest of the Blue Roses, no questions asked. Now, there is a question, is experience knowledge?
In this context, yes.
Because
being experienced about the world enough to know things about it, and then also being willing to research them kind of reach the same scale, because it's about being able to execute on what you know.
Right. The Arnold Schwarzenegger-looking woman is obviously the most experienced person in the group. Evil Eye is the most academically knowledgeable of the group. So, what do you weigh those against each other?
What I would weigh is who gets the idiot ball and makes a stupid decision regardless of how much they knew, or could possibly be clever enough to handle.
Well, I think there's only 4 members of the group, and the other 2 just mirror each other. The 2 ninjas that we saw in the previous episode, so I don't think one of them is dumber than the other.
That's probably a fair assessment. So, I think going forward, let's just watch and see if anyone makes a good decision today. Let's go ahead and watch. Ah, the counting the money scene. I don't think the lizardmen have seen that much gold in their entire existence.
Well, I'm pretty sure they don't interact with the human side of things. Who are they paying?
どこぞの商人にスポンサーになってもらうのが一番なのかな。いや、冒険者モモンが金銭に意地汚いというイメージを持たれるのは避けなければ。
Oh right, he's only has this much cash because he's looking for in-world cash that is not suspicious and trying to fund efforts through that.
どうした鍋。
はい、モモンさん。
まだ時折出るな。そのもはや癖としか言えないやつ。それで
More specifically, the treasure trove of Nazareth is not the same money as this world uses.
Yeah.
そうか。すぐに代金を用意しよ
う。しかしなぜ様々な場所で鉄鉱石を？
実験だ。
I learned it from
エク
Batman.
スチェンジボックスがどのように査定するかを知るためだ。
The exchange box.
ではこれより
Is that just the name of the local, like, trade
だが
union?
もしもの場合は分かった。
Hasn't been mentioned before now.
安全を優先し全力で撤退いたします。その際はアウラ様がお作りになられている偽りのナザリックに転移し、相手に偽の情報をつかませます。
よろしい。攻撃されやすい人混みのルートは決して通るな。それと人間に絡まれたり声をかけられたりしたからといっても大怪我を負わせるな。殺意を振りまくのもダメだ。あと人間を
Don't kill anybody by bumping into them.
I must continually remind you, please keep your cover.
モモンとナーベなのだからな。では行け、ナーベ。
は。
金がない時に限って出費ってかさむんだよな。
Even in the virtual world, he cannot escape the continual grind.
I mean, it just shows that the, God, I can't remember the name of the world that they're in right now is, because it's not the one of the game that they were playing.
I want to say, like, Elbrise or something, but I think that was actually a name of one of the kingdoms.
I want to say it was Teldrassil.
Could be.
I mean, you're the one who's just recently on the knowledge page. I want to say it was Teldrassil, but my point being is...
That may have been the MMO.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The world of Teldrassil. Also, that might have been for World of Warcraft, now that I think about it. I don't know.
That could have been SAO.
Well, no, that would have been... what's the name of the world tree?
Yggdrasil.
What's that?
Yggdrasil.
Right. But yeah, no, that was second series, SAO.
Mm-hmm.
Had that one. Their little new fantasy game. Well,
Look, everyone loves a good world tree.
Well, my point being, before we reach the end of the opening, is that it's not as fleshed out as Log Horizon's world. Where, say, you could live for basically nothing. And there just wasn't any enjoyment in life doing that. And his name is...
Sword Boy.
No, he's the one the princess has like a pet. Can't remember his name all of a sudden. It's a one-word name.
Climb.
Yeah, that sounds right. I realized I was saying, that sounds right, because you read it off the screen and he said it.
どうだ、一つ剣を交えてみないか。
Yeah, I mean, I remember they basically form into like a little trio. Brian, Climb here, and this guy whose name I clearly remember.
慈悲深いマジックキャスターが力を貸してくれなかったら、俺は今頃ここにはいなかっただろうな。そのマジックキャスター殿とは。
It is arguable that it would have been better for him if he had died in the first couple of episodes.
I'm just kind of pondering the relationship he has with Ainz here, where his crew is both the one that has humiliated his friends and himself, and is also the one that has saved him and he appreciates.
They haven't humiliated him.
He literally just said, like, I've had a reminder of how callow I am. I need a train.
Right, that's not humiliation. That's just like, I've been put in my place. Literally, no one else saw it. That's the point. He can't be humiliated if it's only him.
I would probably call that brain state at this point. For sure.
I mean, yeah, Brain can be humiliated. He ran like a fucking coward and let all of his other people die. I mean, this guy was stood solo on the battlefield and told his other men to run away. He's the opposite of Brain.
Yes.
I mean, he's also, like, supposedly the best warrior in the kingdom.
Hey, now they're breaking out the skills.
Which is why they would not survive in SAO.
It does make me ponder a little bit of a scenario where it's two systems clashing. Because Ainz has indicated that he's never heard of these martial arts skills before, they didn't exist, so it's a brand new thing. But also he's bringing in magic that no one in this world has ever seen.
No,
So in a more even scenario, it'd very much be a case of we're both using stuff neither side knows about or can counter.
No, they've seen his magic before. It's just of such high tier that nobody else can do it.
Right.
So, from what you're saying, the perspective would more be he's never seen martial stuff before, but at the same time, it can't hurt him either.
Right. I'm just kind of engineering in my head like a new scenario. That would be interesting.
Well, I was thinking SAO. If you use the system default moves, you're gonna get countered by system default moves. And the only way around it is just to, learn to actually fight for real. SAO did for combat what Log Horizon did for cooking.
あの上段からの攻撃はなかなか良かったぞ。ただ、あそこからどうするかまで考えておいた方がいいな。はい、そうします。選手長。では失礼します。どうした副長?
Because when you said two different systems, my first thought was Death March to an alternative world. But those aren't exclusive systems. That's like two MMOs got merged into one. If they did, that would be humiliating. Sort of the definition of the word.
He's got that protagonist vibe, you know?
Nah, he's buried into something deeper than himself.
Capped at gold. Oh.
The brother to the monster princess.
霊文校ならどこにいてもおかしくはないさ。奴の本性はコウモリだ。いろいろと裏で動いているのだろ
う。And back to climb and set princess.
I'm more surprised that they actually managed to cross paths, given the directions they were each heading.
Yeah, but these two could have been walking around talking all day. I mean, it's obviously climbed, left the place, got cleaned up, put on his armor. It's just later in the day.
Yeah, I suppose they've just been wandering in circles for hours. What else are you gonna do? You're an NPC.
先日決まった奴隷売買を禁止する法案はラナー様のご提案だったかと。珍しくな。でもそれ以外はどうだ？
俺にはあいつが無理だと承知の上で行動しているような気がしてね。
そのようなことは決してございません。
そうかそうか。ではあの化け物に言ってくれないか。長兄のバルブロは
Even everyone else calls her a monster.
I
mean, she is one, so. I don't mean actually. She's not actually a monster. She's a monster in the sense that humans can be monsters.
Also love the idea. It's like, if she wants, we could just go ahead and exile her to the edges of the frontier and forget about her forever. Tell her to go away.
王子、気にするなレイブンコ。あの化け物なら俺たちの思惑もとっくに知っているだろうさ。
By the way, who's playing this music? Doesn't seem to be any of us here but us three.
You see, the orchestra is actually inside the wall.
That seems like something I would hear somebody say if I was like a French aristocrat, and I would just like do that. Okay, I want you to design these walls with many air holes.
I'd like a space that is very small, but that a violinist could still play while strapped to it.
Yeah, and then lay out the windows so that when it's noon, my shadow falls along the wall, so the violinist in the wall can see through the air holes. My shadow, so that they can walk the hallway and follow me around, so the music also follows me. My god, we are creating the greatest way to get our heads chopped off in France of a certain era.
Positively. I'm ready to eat my cake and tell everyone else too as well.
当たり前でしょ。まあクライムは確かに特別だけど、それはあなたのだから特別なのよ。さあ遠慮せずに座りなさいクライム。せっかくの紅茶が冷めてしまうわ。
先ほどの話に戻りましょう。
8本指の剣ね。私たちが黒粉の原料を栽培して
I guess one of the ninjas got sent as a messenger.
Seems to be the case.
ラキウスたちには本当に感謝しているわ。お兄様や貴族たちは派閥争いばかり。このまま王国の裏で暗躍している8本指を放置していては、やがて疲弊し。
There's a real elaborate headdress thing she's got going on.
ですが、私には有力な後ろ盾も。
It's only about 3 pieces.
Well, I mean, you get the flower thing on this side, you get the band going across the top, which is then holding on this McDonald's-sized crown. And then attached to the band is the whole, I don't even know what you call it, the head thing with the gem in the middle. It's a lot of little things all connected together. If A equals B, and B equals C. The dumbest substitution site forever.
But you see, she knew the code all along.
Cool, I've got this dwarven map if you could just look at it for a moment.
They found the drug warehouses.
I would love it if their name was 8 Fingers, and there was like 20 different organizations. That way an adventurer group comes along, kills 8 of them, and thinks they're done.
Right, our 20th organizational member of the 8 Fingers, the Gold Farmers.
失礼ながら、ラナー様の働きかけにより、そういった施設はなくなったのでは。
ええ、奴隷売買が禁止されたおかげでね。でもまだ1箇所、8本指の裏の召喚がオート内に残っているの。ねえ、ラナー。
So that one guy on the council has exactly one place left. And nothing else.
I mean, if it's strong enough, making enough money.
でもあなたの家、アルベイン家に迷惑をかけてしまうわ。かといって、
I think you're gonna kick the one guy off the council of his one place. It's making as much money as all of your operations.
そういうつもりで言ったの。
I'm sorry I insulted you directly to your face, Climb. I'll never do it again, wink.
くれているかは知っているわ。でも無謀なことは決してしないでね。これはお願いじゃなく命令よ。もしあなたに何かあったら、私。
とにかく召喚も放っておけないけど、まずは暗号から判明した場所に対してどうするかを打ち合わせましょう。
そうね。動くのは早い方がいいわ。
村を襲ったのが私たちだとは気づかれていない。だけどこの情報が流れたことはとっくに知られているはず。
Hard to miss a village burning after all.
いいかしら。ガガーランたちに大至急動くことになりそうだと伝えに行ってほしいの。
承知いたしました。
そういえば、リナの調べで奴隷売買の長、国庫通りと関係のある姫様がまた何かされるみたいよ。
Sorry, which one am I reading?
Probably both of them at once. Let's go cross-eyed.
I didn't know what the maids were saying.
まさかあなたを警戒してスパイのつもりで入れたわけではないでしょうけど。
そうですね。クライムにも気をつけるよう言っておかないと。
リナス、セバス
様。ただいま、座れ。仕事の方は問題なく。そうですか。それはよかった。本日の食事は何ですか？
じゃがいも、シチューです。
Potatoes.
それは楽しみです。スワレの料理は美味しいですから。本当ですとも。それで食材の方は大丈夫ですか？
はい、あとで調べて。
一緒に買いに行きますか？
いいです。
He's still very much in full recovery mode here.
How tall do you think Sebas is?
With the perspective of this frame, I would actually guess he might be over 6 feet. What do you think?
I don't know. It's hard to tell if he's like really tall or she's just short.
Maybe we'll get like another character to compare here.
Well, it's not like we've seen anybody of normal standing.
True. We also actually have no exact reference to anyone, do we?
I mean,
no one's outright stated, I'm 5'11".
Well, I mean, we need to have somebody stand next to like a normal door. Because it's hard to tell in like a mansion or something, because the things are elaborate and larger than normal.
Mm-hmm.
So say maybe if we go back to that village or, you know, anything of normal. Cheap. Anything cheap. Cheap doors are made to normal sizes.
アインズ様に報告しなくてもよろしいのですか？セバス様は毎日定時連絡をされているはずです。その時にいくつか言うだけで済むことではないでしょうか。
私は彼女の料理に関する能力を非常に高く買っています。それにこの大きな館に住んでいるのがたった2人では少々キーな目で見られるのではないですか？
つまり偽装工作の一環だと？
その通り。
How much of that is covered and how much of that is the truth?
I mean, do you think Sebas is prone to lying?
Now that's a good question.
As opposed to all the dumbass questions you ask.
まあ彼の店なんだが。
サキュロンとです。お初にお目にかかります。
I'm not sure I'd let a guy named Succulent into my house. I feel like this is maybe asking for something.
I thought maybe that was the name of his establishment.
王国では奴隷売買を禁じているのだが、まるでそれに違反しているようではないかね。
そうですか。面倒なことは執事のセバスに任せています。セバス、あとよろしく。
Yeah, it is the perfect position to be in, right? You're actually the subordinate, but you still get to say, I'm gonna let my butler handle everything.
I do get a feeling she does take some small amount of pleasure in that, too. Given personality.
なるほど。その金額とは
金貨で500枚ですかね。
それは法がいいな。しかし彼女はひどい状態でした。今連れ出せば彼女は死んでしまうかもしれません。
なるほどなるほど。では彼女の治療が終わるまでの間、お宅のお嬢さんを貸していただくというのではどうでしょうかね。
おお、確かに穴埋めは必要だ。
The butler make that decision. As if you just said yes. Then what? What would the next point be?
She walks over there, has the information of exactly where they are, and then also murders them all.
Oh no, I mean, I think if you were to take it logically, that they would then plot with the butler to kidnap.
Right. Undoubtedly, they sense weakness just looking at, oh, there's only like 3 people in the house, and nobody's obviously a fighter or wizard or anything. And then she just phases through the wall.
I mean, because she's a slime creature, so she can.
ソリちゃんか。お前の方から連絡してくるとは非常事態か。
はい。セバス様に裏切りの可能性があります。
うん。あ、まさか。冗談をよせ、ソリちゃん。証拠もなくそういう発言は許されるものではないが。あるのか？
はい。
There's not proof. That's not proof. That's circumstantial at best.
Oh, it's entirely superiority bitterness, that's all.
Well, I mean, they have a valid reason to, like, go on this path, given what happened to, our vampire lady's name is entirely up here. But,
Right.
But it's literally the definition of circumstantial. He's just doing a bunch of stuff in circumstance. None of it is connected together in any way that could be meaningfully said to be plotting
But of course,
against.
as you've stated before, they're fanatics. What do you mean you aren't being excessively loyal and going to our leader for every single instruction?
Okay, you remember when we used to play Warhammer 40k?
Mm-hmm.
And I was the character doing everything possible not to be accused of being a heretic and a traitor? Even I would not be looking at this problem and looking at the situation and saying we're having a problem here.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I wouldn't go out. He's doing everything that you have to do, right? He's walking by the flag and saluting. He's not.
Right. In a logical sense, he hasn't done anything explicitly wrong. He just hasn't been completely open about literally every single action he's taken. He hasn't listed every single time he's been to the bathroom for Lord I.
To his subordinate, though, which is somebody who he does not have to answer to.
But again, fanatics and cultists use their associations and the threat of breaking those associations to constantly enforce normalcy within the group. Oh, Climb, you're getting adopted, aren't you?
I suppose more disappointingly, the episode is named after a group of which only one member was in the whole episode.
One member was in probably the entirety of one scene, and we only know they plan to go somewhere, and that's it.
But the whole episode was named after it.
Yeah, go figure. What would be a better title for this episode, do you think? It would probably have more to do with, like, the fanatic loyalist checking in kind of stuff, right?
I would say a monster's plot.
Hey, that's actually good.
The princess is the monster. She was in the majority of this episode. She's setting things up. Because we know her whole AI just decoded this whole message thing is more than just her being like, I'm real smart, let me try and help. She's setting things in motion.
Right. You could also even use that as like to fill in for everyone else too, where everyone else is kind of plotting and are mostly monsters too. Every single character is a monster here. Our princess is a monster. Sibis and crew are technically monsters. The 8 Fingers are all monsters.
Well, everyone... Fingers weren't in this episode. Maid's not a monster.
No, those two who came by to collect on the girl were part of the 8 Fingers.
No, the succulent might be part of the 8 Fingers. The other dude is what where they're making their money. Basically, their clientele is the aristocracy of the city. So he is just money. He's just the money pinching guy. He's not
local friend to come here and twist the arm via nobility, I suppose. Yeah, that might be a fair assumption.
So yeah, the maid's not a monster. Galoof, I can't think of his name, something like that, isn't a monster. Climb isn't a monster.
I am going to pin that though. Galoof.
What?
For the name of Brian's friend. Brain's friend.
Right. I think Brian's
We'll never get these names right, I swear. At least Climb we can't get wrong. Alright. So, anything else about this episode I think we need to cover here?
Well... Gazif is his name.
Gazif, there we go.
Galoof is the name from Final Fantasy. Final Fantasy V, that's why. Which I played on stream before. He's the old man that dies, spoiler alert. Real emotional scene.
Yeah. Right now, next time says that we're going to be dealing with more Sibis and Climb.
Well, next time it says we'll be dealing with a boy's feelings.
So I guess the question is, are they going to actually get anywhere during that episode as well? I think there's definitely one episode where they will actually get to, like, raiding the warehouses and stuff, but that's probably still a bit out.
If memory serves, this is the episode where Brain and Climb both witness how good of a fighter Sebas is. As being the scene we're looking at here specifically, I believe Climb and Brain are fighting something, or no, they're fighting one another, I believe. And then Sebas comes around and has to fight somebody else that shows up, or something like that.
Yeah.
And then he fights them one-handed. I think it's the one where he does the glove thing.
Yeah, there you go. Alright then. So, I think we know what we're in for next episode, and I guess we'll go ahead and wrap it up here. This has been Stoneface Reactions, everyone. I'm Griffin, that's Theta, and we'll catch you next time. See you, everyone.